points, because as a reservist you have to have points in order to get retirement. And I knew I was going to retire from there. I wasn't going anywhere because I've always wanted to be in the service from day one in high school.
Now, did you have anyone in your family have any connection with the military, or where did you get the idea?
Well, my dad was a Buffalo soldier in World War II.
Right.
And my brothers, my oldest brother was in the Air Force. My younger brother was in the Army. He served in Korea. Ralph in the Air Force served in Vietnam.
Also,
And I'm the only woman and the last one. Yeah.
so you served also.
Yes.
Well, your family has good representation.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Now, after you finished your basic training and you were assigned to, when you were in the reserves, how did you travel between you going on duty and
Well, they provided airline tickets for us.
Oh, so you went by air?
Yes.
To each
Prop planes in Iowa. Oh, I don't like prop planes. It's the propeller.
Was this the first time?
That was the first time I'd ever ridden a prop plane, and that I didn't enjoy too much. Because my first sergeant is 6'3". He had 2 seats, 2.5 seats, to stretch his legs.
Well, you traveled as a unit to this?
A section, actually, because our section of 424, we had several corners of the section, which was supply, kitchen, and administration. And administration is the one I was in, and those were the ones that were traveling mostly.
Now, when you were, did you have to have a duty like several times a month, or regular?
After I passed a certain rank, then I did. I was there on one weekend a month, but more than 2 to 3 weekends, weekdays, which would be Wednesday nights. We usually did an extra admin drill because we were making work plans for our soldiers that's under us, and that started with me at E5. From E5 on, I was out there. I thought it was a second home. I leave work and go straight there.
Now, I didn't ask you, how old were you when you joined the service?
I think I was 26 or 30. I don't know.
No, what?
Figure it. It's approximately 26.
And this was all taking place at tank time out in Warren?
No. This was Livonia.
Oh, just out. Because you had mentioned tank com before.
The tank com is where we went for our computer training.
In Warren?
We left the reserve center all in one car. And our sergeant that was over us, he lived right around the corner from there, so he didn't come to the reserve center. He went directly to the tank car, which would have been easier.
That was at Van Dyke and 11 and a half Line.
Right. We were there in that old building.
When?
We were in 76, I believe it was.
And now, then you did duty a couple weekends a month, and then did you have to go on active duty?
Yes, we had active duty. Most of the time it was in May, and it's not so hot then. And we go to Fort Benjamin Harris, because when I came off of active duty from my training, I ended up right in the middle of their AT. So So their active duty for training was in progress when I got back. And a lot of times, in fact, they came the same year I was there.
Now, you say they, you mean the rest
My
of
unit.
your unit?
Mhm.
Mhm. Now, how many, was it like 2 weeks out
Yes.
of the year
Right.
that you went on active duty in
For,
May?
for training, yes.
And you did this until Desert Storm? This was your routine?
No, I was in a 424 until 301st Commander asked me to come down to his unit downstairs, and that was 301st. They, military police, they decided that they needed extra people in their section that took care of prisoners, because in the section I was in and the MOS that I had was computers, and we were in processing and out processing prisoners. And in order to be up to snuff on that, we had to go up there early.
Prisoners of war?
Mm-hmm. Prisoners of war and civilians of war. We took care of them also.
The 2 weeks that you were on active duty?
No, the 2 weeks we were in active duty, we were working side by side with our partners. There are units assigned to active duty units at that time. I don't think they do it anymore, but our counterparts were in Fort Benjamin Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had more counterparts in Kentucky.
Oh.
And when we got overseas, 424 also went overseas. They went overseas in '89.
Now, when was this?
I was still in 424 then,
No, but what year was this?
that we went overseas.
Mm-hmm.
'89
You went over as a unit?
as a unit to work side by side with our unit in Germany.
Oh.
And that wasn't the unit. The people in the unit, the kids in the unit didn't like us very much because they said, we've never had a drug exam all this time we've been here until you got here. Because they called us at 4:30 in the morning, told us to put our PT uniform on and come downstairs. And we all came downstairs and we stand in line to get our test. And we had to give our test for drugs.
Now, was this when you first came on duty there?
I think we were there probably 4 days. And then they pulled this and said,
Was this for active duty?
we were on active duty then for training
For training?
with our counterparts.
And for how long was this?
2 weeks.
Oh, this was part of your 2-week
Right.
commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in the summertime?
Yes. Yes.
So was there a probable cause?
They didn't find anything.
Oh, okay.
At least not that I know of anyway. But you know, we still were blamed because of that.
Well, your shoulders are broad.
Oh yes. That wasn't the only unit. The unit in Kentucky did the same thing. And they got a little mad at us because their commander, Colonel, said he wished he had us instead of who he had for active duty. So the next morning we go to mess and they holler, let a real soldier pass that has a job.
Now, this was while you were on your 2 weeks of active duty?
Yes. And we
So
were
they
working
put
side
you
by
right in
side
with the, oh, I see.
with our counterparts, and of course they didn't want to tell us anything, which we already knew.
Now,
And
each year you had a different place to go?
most of the time. We repeated a lot of Fort Benjamin Harris and Fort Knox. But the ones at Fort Knox got upset with us the most. But everybody else was fine.
So until Desert Storm, you did 2 weeks of active duty?
2 weeks of
every year.
active duty, and sometimes other units commissioned me to come with them on active duty. And this was a unit here in Southfield.